Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I'm Anuja Kumar, and with me is Abhishek Mukhopadhyay with the Midday News. The headlines. India says engagement with multiple stakeholders important to spread right information and dispel rumors about COVID-19 vaccination program. Over 20,29,000 people administered vaccines in the country. Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu calls a meeting of all party leaders on Sunday ahead of budget session. IMF revises growth projection for India to 11.5% in 2021. US asks its citizens to reconsider travelling to Pakistan and Bangladesh and not visit Afghanistan due to COVID-19, terrorism and conflicts. And International Cricket Council announces Player of the Month awards to recognize best performances of both male and female cricketers. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these three simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki doori for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. India has said that engagement with multiple stakeholders is important to spread the right information and dispel rumors about the vaccination program. Health and Family Welfare Minister Dr. Harshvardhan, while chairing the 148th session of WHO Executive Board yesterday, said that 2020 was the year of discovery for COVID-19 vaccines, and this year's challenge before the world is to inoculate the people who most need it. Dr. Harshvardhan said it is encouraging that tremendous progress has been made despite all the problems in the world. He said ever since the COVID-19 was declared a pandemic, a valiant fight was fought against the disease with collective efforts to suppress transmission, prevent illness and reduce deaths. Appreciating the role of all the member states for acting with speed and scale during this rapidly evolving pandemic, Dr. Harshvardhan said determination and hard work demonstrated by the countries have saved countless lives amid the ongoing crisis. He added that the biggest success of this pandemic has been the teamwork and healthcare organizations actually focused on delivering a meaningful goal across the world. Dr. Harshvardhan also paid respect to those brave men and women who sacrificed themselves in the pandemic and those who are continuing to fight relentlessly and selflessly against the COVID-19. The Executive Board welcomed the Immunization Agenda 2030 and unanimously recognized the central role played by immunization programs in safeguarding public health globally. Member states also called for early and equitable availability of COVID-19 vaccines through the COVAX facility. A total of over 20,29,000 people have been administered COVID-19 vaccines in the country so far. Meanwhile, the country's COVID-19 recovery rate reached 96.91%, with a total recovery of more than 13,000 patients in the last 24 hours. The ministry said that more than 1,359,000 patients have already recovered from this disease. COVID-19 active cases are on a continuously declining trajectory in the country. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is 1,76,498, which comprises only 1.65% of the total positive cases. The Health Ministry said 137 deaths have been reported during the last 24 hours, taking the toll to 1,53,724 across the country. The Indian Council of Medical Research said that various laboratories have conducted more than 5,50,000 tests of coronavirus samples during the last 24 hours, and more than 19 crore 36 lakh tests have been done in the country so far.
The COVID vaccination has been held at record 1,205 sites in Rajasthan today. Our Jaipur correspondent reports that the Health Department has set a target to vaccinate over 1,14,000 health workers today. Here is the report.
Health Department is continuously increasing the session sites to complete the vaccination of 4.5 lakh registered health workers by January 31st. 2,410 vaccination sessions have been organized so far in the state and 1,61,116 health workers have been vaccinated. Meanwhile, just 125 new cases of COVID-19 were reported yesterday in the state. No new case was reported from 15 districts out of 33 districts, while less than 5 persons tested positive in 13 districts of the state. The number of active cases has also been reduced to less than 3,000 in the state. Jitendra Dwivedi, AIR News, Jaipur.
In Bihar, 88,207 people have been administered COVID-19 vaccine so far. No side effect has been reported from any part of the state. Health Minister Mangal Pandey said the state government has set the target to complete the first round of vaccination by February. Meanwhile, 256,230 patients have recovered from the COVID-19 infection in the state so far. The number of active cases is continuously declining. Currently, 2,265 patients are receiving treatment in various hospitals. The COVID-19 recovery rate is improved to 98.56% in the state. Over 2,56,000 corona tests have been conducted in Bihar so far.
In Madhya Pradesh, more than 2,47,000 patients have recovered from COVID infection so far. 515 patients recovered from the infection yesterday. More from our Bhopal correspondent.
In Madhya Pradesh, 228 new positive cases were reported yesterday. COVID positive rate is consistently declining in the state and now stands at 1.1%. 11 districts recorded no positive cases yesterday. With 2 patients succumbing to the infection, the death toll rose to 3,793. Meanwhile, COVID vaccination is being done smoothly in the state. More than 67,400 people were vaccinated so far. Pooja Pivardhan, AIR News, Bhopal.
Mizoram is witnessing a declining trend in the active cases of COVID-19. The total number of active cases has dropped to 47 as of today. Also, the recovery rate of COVID-19 has improved to 98.71%. According to the state medical bulletin, 3 new cases were recorded, while 2 patients recovered in the past 24 hours.
In the United Kingdom, more than 1 lakh people have died of COVID-19, the first European nation to pass the landmark. The toll has risen by an average of over 1,000 per day for the past 7 days. Prime Minister Boris Johnson said he took full responsibility for the government's actions, saying they truly did everything they could. He said he was deeply sorry for every life lost. A total of 162 deaths have been recorded in UK. Mr. Johnson told at the Downing Street news conference that it was hard to compute the sorrow contained in this grim statistic. The UK is the 5th country to pass 100,000 deaths, coming after the US, Brazil, India and Mexico. In view of the budget session of Parliament, Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu has called a meeting of leaders of all parties in the upper house on the 31st of this month. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla is also expected to hold an all-party meeting on the 29th of this month. The meetings will be held to ensure smooth functioning of both the houses of Parliament during the session. The government has also convened an all-party meeting on the 30th of this month to seek support of political parties to ensure smooth conduct of business in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. The budget session will begin on the 29th of this month with President Ramnath Kovind's address to the joint sitting of both the houses of Parliament. The Union budget will be presented on the 1st of next month. In view of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Rajya Sabha will function from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. and the Lok Sabha will function from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. The first part of the session will conclude on 15 February, while the second part of the session will begin on the 8th of March and will conclude on the 8th of April.
The Delhi police has registered nearly 24 cases of violation of lawful directions, rioting, damage to public property and assault on public servant with deadly weapons following yesterday's violence during farmers' protest in the national capital. The city police is keeping a close watch on the situation. During the farmers' tractor rally, the confrontation between the police and farmers continued throughout the day. Most of the incidents were reported from Mukarba Chowk, Ghazipur, ITO, Simapuri, Nangloi Tea Point, Tikri Border and the Red Fort. So far, 86 policemen have been reported injured and several public and private properties have been damaged in this act of vandalism by the rioting mob. Delhi police said a section of the crowd climbed atop the rampart of the Red Fort where they hoisted their organization's flag. With great efforts, the Delhi police managed to remove the crowd from the rampart and the vicinity. Delhi Police Commissioner S.N. Srivastav has asked the agitating farmers not to indulge in violence. He appealed to them to maintain peace. He said the time and the routes for the tractor rally were finalized after several rounds of meetings. The agitators defied the conditions and started their march before the scheduled time, and they chose the path of violence. The police displayed utmost restraint during the tractor rally. In view of the situation, Delhi police took necessary steps with restraint to maintain law and order. He said this agitation has caused a great damage to public property. Delhi Metro has closed the entry gates of Lal Khila metro station. However, exit is permitted at this station. Entry gates of Jama Masjid metro station are also closed. All other stations are open and there is normal services on all lines of the Delhi Metro.
Haryana Chief Minister Manohar Lal has directed all Deputy Commissioners, Police Commissioners as well as Superintendents of Police to remain on high alert so as to ensure the law and order situation in the state is not disturbed at any cost. Chairing a high-level meeting, the Chief Minister directed the officers concerned to remain extremely vigilant considering incidents in the national capital Delhi. During the meeting, Chief Secretary Vijay Vardhan, Additional Chief Secretary of the Home Department Rajiv Arora, Director General of Police Manoj Yadav and other senior officers were present. Terming as unacceptable the violence perpetrated by certain elements during yesterday's tractor rally in the national capital, Punjab Chief Minister Captain Amrinder Singh has urged all genuine farmers to immediately vacate Delhi and return to the borders where they had been protesting peacefully for the past 2 months. Mr. Singh also ordered a high alert in Punjab amid tension and violence in Delhi. He has directed Director General of Police Dinkar Gupta to ensure that law and order in the state is not disturbed at any cost.
The government has said that more than 84 lakh paddy farmers have been benefited from current Kharif marketing season procurement operations with minimum support price or MSP value of over 1,10,000 crore rupees. Agriculture Ministry said the government continues to procure Kharif crops at its minimum support price from farmers as per its existing schemes. Around 587 lakh tons of paddy have been procured from various states. This is an increase of 20.28% against the last year corresponding purchase of 488 lakh tons. The government through its nodal agencies has also procured over 3 lakh tons of moong, urad, groundnut pods and soya bean benefiting around 1,62,000 farmers.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. India says engagement with multiple stakeholders important to spread right information and dispel rumors about COVID-19 vaccination program. Over 20,29,000 people administered vaccines in the country. Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu calls a meeting of all party leaders on Sunday ahead of the budget session. IMF revises growth projection for India to 11.5% in 2021. US asks its citizens to reconsider travelling to Pakistan and Bangladesh and not visit Afghanistan due to COVID-19, terrorism and conflicts. And International Cricket Council announces Player of the Month awards to recognize best performances of both male and female cricketers. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो खुद से वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back to the Midday News. 4 army jawans were injured in an improvised explosive device IED blast that was planted near a school in Shamsipora area of South Kashmir's Kulgam district. A senior police official told AIR News that 4 personnel of Army's Road Opening Party ROP of 24 RR were injured in the blast. All the injured have been shifted to Army's 92 base hospital in Srinagar. The official said that the school building was also damaged in the blast. The area has been sealed off and a massive manhunt has been launched. Army's PRO in Srinagar said in a statement that it was a grenade attack that was lobbed on the ROP. He said that after first aid treatment, the soldiers have been shifted to the hospital for further treatment. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath will transfer over 2,400 crore rupees today as second and third installments of PM Awas Yojana Urban to over 3.42 lakh beneficiaries of the state. The Chief Minister will connect live from Gorakhpur to the beneficiaries from all over the state. He will interact with 5 beneficiaries in 5 districts of the state. Our Gorakhpur correspondent reports that the Chief Minister will also visit the Chauri Chaura Martyrium to oversee the preparations for the centenary celebration of the historical event that took place in 1922. The state is gearing up for a grand celebration on the completion of 100 years of Chauri Chaura incident. The statewide celebration will begin from the 4th of next month and will go on for a year. The logo of the Chauri Chaura centenary celebration was jointly inaugurated by Governor Anandiben Patel and Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath in Lucknow last week.
Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Edappadi Palaniswamy to the inaugurated Jayalalitha Memorial in Chennai. The grand memorial is built on a 9-acre land situated on the shores of the Marina Beach. The phoenix-shaped memorial has a statue of Jayalalitha and MGR with an artificial waterfall. The building was completed in a record period of 30 months. Scores of AIA-DMK workers from all districts thronged the city to witness the event. Incidentally, V.K. Sashikala, the confidant of the late Chief Minister Jayalalitha, was released from Bengaluru's Parapana Agraharam prison today. She was shifted to Victoria Hospital on the 21st of January and had tested positive. As per protocol, she will be discharged on the 10th day if she is asymptomatic and free of oxygen support for at least 3 days. Haryana Police today registered a case under various sections of IPC against around 2,200 demonstrators for indulging in violence during farmers' protest near village Softa in Palwal district on the National Highway 19. The police spokesman said that the demonstrators tried to break the barricades on the National Highway during farmers' protest and indulged in violence. The police has initiated action against them after registering a case against them. In West Bengal, the outpatient department of the All India Institute of Medical Sciences AIMS at Kalyani in Noida district has become functional from today. It started with 8 departments and is scheduled to be fully operational by the end of this year. More from our Kolkata correspondent.
For setting up a 960-bedded unit of the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in Kalyani, the centre has given approval in the year 2015 under Pradhan Mantri Swasthya Suraksha Yojana. Initially, a fund of 1,200 crore rupees released for that purpose. The hospital built on a land of a little over 179 acres at Kalyani Bosantapur in Noida district of the state. It started the OPD services on a small scale from today with 8 departments. The executive director of the institute, Dr. Ramji Singh, said that presently 150 to 200 patients can be accommodated in the OPD.
We have started with the academic activity. Today we started OPD services for 8 departments and consultation service. They are medicine, surgery, obstetric and gynecology, eye, ENT, pediatrics, psychiatry and dermatology. OPD will be fully functional somewhere in June, July, and IPD services will be starting later on. We hope to complete by end of this year.
Patients can register their names for OPD and consultation from 8 to 11 a.m. in the morning. With Shurojit Vishwas from Kalyani, this is Madhuparna Dhautroduri for AIN News, Kolkata.
In West Bengal, 2-day special session of the Legislative Assembly began today. After obituary references to the departed dignitaries like former President Pranab Mukherjee, the House was adjourned for the day. A resolution against the 3 farm laws of the centre is supposed to be presented in the House tomorrow. Ruling Trinamool Congress has issued a whip for all its MLAs to be present in the House. Meanwhile, chaotic scenes were witnessed in front of the VIP gate of the Assembly House as a section of female members of the agitating para-teachers forum, Sikshak Okia Mancha, tried to cross the iron gates. The protesters were demanding to meet the Chief Minister to implement equal work, equal pay and pension facility as well. In Assam, the ruling BJP has flagged off mobile vans to seek public views for preparing party manifesto ahead of the upcoming assembly polls. Chief Minister Sarbanand Sonowal flagged off the vans in the presence of State Party President Ranjit Kumar Das, NEDA convener Himanta Biswa Sarma and Guwahati MP Queen Oja. Party sources said that 50 vans would travel to the 126 assembly constituencies across the state, seeking public opinions. Addressing the gathering, the Chief Minister told the party workers to create awareness on the good work being done by the state government. Mr. Sonowal said that due to strong will of the government, rhino poaching has been stopped at the Kaziranga National Park.
In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the election for the offices of chairpersons of District Development Councils, DDCs, is likely to take place next month. AIR Jammu correspondent reports that proposal for the reservation of offices of DDC chairpersons is expected to be finalized in the first week of February. The State Election Commission, SEC, is expected to come up with the final proposal in the first week of February after considering objections, if any, to draft reservation of offices of chairpersons of DDCs, and the election should be held within 20 days after the SEC comes up with the final order on the reservations. The State Election Commission has unveiled a draft proposal for reservation of offices of chairpersons of DDCs. According to the proposal, posts of DDC chairpersons of Ganderbal, Shopian, Ramban and Kishtwar districts have been reserved for women, while Poonch seat has been kept exclusively for women from Scheduled Tribe ST category. Similarly, offices of chairpersons of Anantnag and Rajouri district have been reserved for STs, while seats of Jammu and Udhampur district have been reserved for Scheduled Caste SCs. Ministry of Finance has released an amount of over 12,351 crore rupees to 18 states for providing grants to the rural local bodies. This is the second installment of basic grants released in the financial year 2020-21. The grant has been released to 18 states who have been provided the utilization certificate for the first installment and on the recommendation of the Panchayati Raj Ministry. The grants of RLBs are released as per the recommendations of the 15th Finance Commission to create community assets and improve financial viability of the RLBs. The grants are provided to all the three tiers of Panchayati Raj, village, block and district to enable pooling of resources across villages and blocks. The 15th Finance Commission has recommended two types of grants to the RLBs, basic and tied grants. Basic grants can be used by the local bodies for location-specific felt needs except for salary or other establishment expenditure. The tied grants are to be used for the basic services of sanitation and maintenance of open defecation-free status and supply of drinking water, rainwater harvesting and water recycling.
News just in. Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs has approved minimum support price MSP of copra at 10,335 rupees per quintal, which is an increase of 375 rupees over 2020 rates. Briefing media in Delhi, Union Minister Prakash Javadekar said this will benefit millions of farmers engaged in copra farming and impact the farmers of 12 coastal states.
Today, Cabinet met and was chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and we have decided to increase the MSP of milling copra as well as ball copra. So we have increased it by 52% over and above the cost of production. Earlier, last year, it was 9,960. This year, 375 rupees increased and is now 10,335.
Mr. Javadekar said this is one of the many decisions taken by the centre to benefit the farmers. He said it has been seen that when the government increases the rate, the market also pays more. International Monetary Fund IMF projected an 11.5% growth rate for India in 2021. It makes India the only major economy of the world to register double-digit growth this year amidst the coronavirus pandemic. With the latest projections, India regains the tag of the fastest developing economies of the world. Revisiting its figures, the IMF said that in 2020, the Indian economy is estimated to have contracted by 8%. In its latest World Economic Outlook update, China is next with 8.1% growth in 2021, followed by Spain with 5.9% and France 5.5%. India's economy, the IMF said, is projected to grow by 6.8% in 2022 and that of China by 5.6%. Early this month, IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva had said that India actually has taken very decisive steps to deal with the pandemic and to deal with its economic consequences. Talking to AIR News, economist Naveen Gupta said that figures show strong fundamentals of Indian economy.
On the eve of Indian budget, the IMF has come out with the projections for global economy in the year 2021, and our country, India, is expected and projected to grow at the rate of 11.5%. This is great news, and this shows that India is rebounding to achieve the US 5 trillion economy mark, and we would be the fastest growing economy in the world, and we would be the only double-digit growth economy because China is projected to grow at 8.11%. That shows strong fundamentals that our country have.
Updating its travel advisory for 3 South Asian countries, the US has urged its citizens to reconsider the travel to Pakistan and Bangladesh and not to visit Afghanistan. The State Department issued separate travel advisories for 3 countries yesterday to reconsider travel to Pakistan due to COVID-19, terrorism and sectarian violence. It said it also asked its citizens not to travel to Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa provinces due to terrorism and kidnapping. Urging its citizens to reconsider travel to Bangladesh due to COVID-19, the State Department asked them to exercise increased caution in the country due to crime, terrorism and kidnapping. In another advisory, the State Department asked Americans not to travel to Afghanistan due to COVID-19, crime, terrorism, civil unrest, kidnapping and armed conflict. In Dubai, the International Cricket Council ICC today announced the introduction of the ICC Player of the Month Awards. The award will recognize and celebrate the best performances of both male and female cricketers across all forms of international cricket throughout the year. In a statement, ICC said an independent ICC voting academy comprising former players, broadcasters and journalists from around the world will team up with fans to vote for the ICC Men's Player of the Month and ICC Women's Player of the Month. From performances by youngsters such as Mohammad Siraj, Washington Sundar, T. Natarajan, Rishabh Pant, Rahmanullah Gurbaj of Afghanistan to established players such as Ravichandran Ashwin, Joe Root of England, Steve Smith of Australia, Marizanne Kapp and Nadine de Klerk of South Africa and Nida Dar of Pakistan, there will be no shortage of candidates for the month of January.
The GDP growth rate in Bangladesh fell to 0.5% in the calendar year 2020 as compared to 8.4% in the year 2019 due to the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. According to the report, World Economic Situation and Prospects 2021, released by the UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs, the fall in GDP growth rate was cushioned to some extent by a recovery in trade and remittance in the second half of the year. Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for the day. In the national capital Delhi, there is a forecast of haze. Minimum temperature was 5 degrees Celsius and maximum will be around 21 degrees. Mumbai will have mainly clear sky. Chennai will have fog in the morning and partly cloudy sky later. Minimum temperature was 20 degrees Celsius and maximum will be around 31 degrees. Kolkata will have fog in the morning and partly cloudy sky later. Minimum temperature was 15 degrees Celsius and maximum will be around 23 degrees. Srinagar will have partly cloudy sky later. Minimum temperature was -2 degrees and maximum will be around 6 degrees. In Jammu, minimum temperature was 6 degrees Celsius while maximum will be around 19 degrees with mainly clear sky. Leh will have clear sky. Minimum temperature was -15 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be around 0.6 degrees. Gilgit will have fog in the morning and partly cloudy sky later. Muzaffarabad will have mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards evening or night. Minimum temperature was 3 degrees Celsius and maximum will be around 18 degrees. Dehradun will have moderate fog. Minimum temperature was 8 degrees Celsius and maximum will be around 22 degrees. Chandigarh will have mainly clear sky. Minimum temperature was 5 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be 19 degrees. In Hyderabad, minimum temperature was 18 degrees Celsius while maximum will be around 32 degrees. It is likely to have partly cloudy sky. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. India says engagement with multiple stakeholders important to spread right information and dispel rumors about COVID-19 vaccination program. Over 20,29,000 people administered vaccines in the country. Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu calls a meeting of all party leaders on Sunday ahead of budget session. IMF revises growth projection for India to 11.5% in 2021. US asks its citizens to reconsider travelling to Pakistan and Bangladesh and not visit Afghanistan due to COVID-19, terrorism and conflicts. And International Cricket Council announces Player of the Month awards to recognize best performances of both male and female cricketers. And with that, we end the midday news.